Okay, now there's a request for me to give a brief translation of the last 3 talks in English. So I'm going to take time for that at the beginning, and later we'll go to the question and answer session. And after that, I will hand over the microphone to the organization. So, as far as the single talks, 3 talks are concerned, this was based on the one particular discourse given by the Buddha. And if you are serious in checking the reference, you may go to the numerical sayings of the Buddha. That is called Anguttara Nikaya in the book of 3. That whole 10 suttas known as Bhikkhu Varga, and that particular sutta is known as Pubba Karana Sutta. That is recursory or the preliminary actions. That is the English translation for that Pubba Karana. And thereby the Buddha first gave the epithet or example, and then explain the philosophy or its teaching according to that particular example. The example given is given as a farmer. If a farmer is a skillful one and he is expecting a crop or results or harvest from his farming, he must have completed 3 tasks in order to make sure the harvest. The first thing is the land preparation. Specifically, the Buddha has mentioned leveling of the land. And that may be over lowland cultivation.
The second thing is, when the land is prepared, you have to apply the hybrid seed. And without that, very difficult for him to expect anything out of the land. So the second most important thing is the planting, the seeds. And the third aspect is giving or irrigation or water supply to the crop. When you excess, you have to drain it off. When you have necessity, you have to add water. That is usually called intercultivation, or that is usually included a removal of the weeds and gathering soil closer to the plant and all the kind of thing. And but in the particular sutta, it has been mentioned only the watering or irrigation. And after giving that example, the Buddha says, just like if someone renounced the world and go for spiritual life or religious life, in order to have desired benefits, he or she must have fulfilled 3 aspects, or sometimes being called facilitating with 3 aspects. The first thing is restrainment regarding the morality. And that is also higher restraining regarding the morality. And the second thing is higher restraining regarding the mental culture or concentration meditation. The last one is higher training of restrainment of wisdom. So this is called Sila Sikha, Samadhi Sikha, Panya Sikha. So most important thing in this teaching is, in order to have your desired results, there's nothing to do, but there is thing not to do. But not doing unnecessary thing is more conducive than so-called doing things what you feel fit. This is a clear difference, a philosophical difference in teaching of the Buddha. Religious people, they are worrying about doing things. Rituals and all the kind of things, they are very meticulous in doing, but they never assure by doing things you can achieve something. Instead, you have to do away with 3 things by not doing what should not be done. That is what you call the religions. 3 aspects: moral restrainment, concentration restrainment, and wisdom restrainment. It's a very difficult message for the traditional Buddhists to communicate, because they are worrying about fulfilling duties, doing this, doing that. Ultimately, they don't have any idea, any measurement or any sensor how much I am restraining myself not doing what should not be done with respect to the morality. Not doing what not should be done with respect to the concentration. Not doing what you should not done for the wisdom training. So therefore, complete radical presentation in this particular sutta. So therefore, if you wish your own well-being, if you wish the maximum benefits out of this dispensation of the Buddha, not only that you must be diligent to what you should do, what you should regarding the doings or do's, your main attention must be what you should be diligent not to do what you should not do. It's a very, very sensitive, very appealing part. So that is the part in the popular Buddhism we have already lost. So therefore we have to understand doing or do's or charitra is part and parcel of our culture, part and parcel of our religion. And moralists are very, very concerned about that, performing duties to the family duties to the temple, society and yourself and kind of thing. But hardly you negligent to the not to do what you should not do. So therefore you are highly vulnerable to the nature, to the censoring of the other people. So ultimately you can understand why you are harvesting so much of bad results out of your whole kind of thing, because you are not concerned about diligence towards the things what you should not do. That is what you call moral restrainment. That is not killing, not stealing, not sexual misconduct. No verbal for misdeeds. So, if you wish or if you feel doing this and that and help and other kind of thing, for example, generosity and social responsibilities and social work, you need money, you need places, you need a lot of amenities. But not to do or restraining from killing, you need nothing. It is just a matter of not doing. But people are not understanding that, therefore they are very happy and very proud to say, I did that and this. But they don't know how much they have restrained from not doing what you should not do. That means not killing, not stealing, not sexual misconduct. For that, wealth is immaterial. For that, time is immaterial. Place is immaterial. If you know the sharpness, main thing is not to do bad things. And that is even Socrates, in his compendium of rules in medicine, the first and foremost is, first do no harm. That's the main principle. Rather than doing this and that, main thing is not to. That is why the Buddha says, sabbapavasa karana. And that here it is in threefold. First thing is moral restrainment. Second thing is concentration restrainment. Third one is wisdom. And therefore it's a completely new art. It's a completely radical presentation. So it is irreligious. It has no any religious background, not to kill, not to steal, not to have misconduct, lying, slandering, tale carrying and harsh words. By not doing, you become a cultured person, be uplifted, and therefore less and less repercussions you are making to the society, and ultimately you learn the least frictional path or the comfort zone by not doing. But hardly any examples you can find in the outside world. People are concerned about one's own restrainment. They are very happy that I got this and that and I did that and this. They are bragging. But instead, person who is self-restrained, not to kill, not to steal, they are not bragging. But they are very at peace of mind. Wherever they go and wherever the place they have, they can maintain their status by not killing, not stealing, not sexual misconduct. So if we can pass that message to our second generation, definitely they will be well off wherever they go. Instead of having degrees, double degrees, professor, this kind of thing, ultimately they won't give any kind of categorically I say, this education won't give any kind of a moral restrainment, no healthy fear and the healthy shame. So therefore ultimately more and more they acclaimed, they get a disease called effluenza. Not influenza. They get a disease, they are now infested with effluenza. Utter shame, utter disgrace, utter sectarianism. And you can see within the family, within the education department or centers, within the office, within the branch, so much of one-upmanship. Dirty than human animals. Instead, if you are learning not doing what you should not do, even without any bragging, the world will be at peace. And the present basic needs are more than enough. Wealth will be distributed very, very evenly if you restrain yourself, adi sila sikha samadhana. So therefore we are in a certain amount of restrainment, so we have to think about more tightening of our belts and go for moral restrainment, and it is a contagious disease. Whenever someone comes to the moral restrainment, others feel the good vibration. Even you are not a good preacher, even if you are not a good missionary work, by not doing, even animals, even the plants can feel it. It is not a verbal. Even plants can feel the person who is not harmful. Even the pets, even the animals, even the children, even the non-Buddhists. So this is how the Buddha become extraordinary in teaching. And the second thing is concentration. In the concentration, if you are not training for concentration, if you do not have the adicitta sikha, you always multiply seeing objects, hearing objects, smelling, tasting, touching, and pet ideas. Our household is a classic example, full of visual objects, sounds, smells, taste, contact, sensuous contacts, and thoughts. And house is a hell. It's a conflagrated. Whenever you go back home, you can feel. And whenever you go to the forest, no visual objects desirable, no visual objects, sound objects, no smell, no touch, no kind of thing. The Buddha says that's heaven. That means we become barbaric. We go back to the forest. We came from that there. Australia has only 200 years of history. Before that they were aborigines. And 200, now it has come to the infrastructure, communication facilities, and you see how much the amount of frustration developing. You can see how much the amount of the mental tension and mental diseases, and how much amount of beds in the asylum increasing. Whatever the development. But the concentration says, you go to a silent place, close your eyes, and don't entertain sounds. Smell and taste is usually not disturbing. And sit in with the minimum amenities, and don't entertain pet thoughts, ideas. Just be aware. When your eyes are closed, sounds are silence, no smell, no touch, no physical activity, no thinking. What is happening here? It's an inward journey. It is not extrovert. It's an inward journey, and you are the very first person get frightened. But you hate yourself. This is the present day culture. We are morning to evening, we hate the present moment. We hate the present place. We hate me. That's why we are searching about partners. That's why we are searching about the television. That's why we are searching about the radios, novels, hobbies, and pastimes. More and more you there, you call you are rich. Bullshit. Bullshit. You are a slave. Morning to evening you don't know where is your stream of consciousness. Respect and picked and everywhere. Ultimately, at the end of the day, desperately, you go back to the bed, even no sleep. So instead of a concentration training, try to be with your senses and be without visual objects, sound, smell, taste, kind of thing, and try to be there. To be here and now itself is a huge brevity. No one can do it. Whenever you close your eyes, you develop so much of fear, so much of cornered, so much you feel like outcasted. So that's why we always try to be in a congregation. That's a disease. That's a disease. You are not preparing for yourself for the death. You are not preparing yourself for the diseases or old age. Old age, death and this thing appear like a bad omen. No one can avoid it. So ultimately when you desperately fall into that, it's a double fall misery. Because you have never tried concentration. Imagine one tried the concentration and gain even a little bit, whereby knows I can be with your closed eyes. No sounds, no tasting of smell, or entertaining on smell and taste and physical contacts, this thing. Then you can be in the world, but still away from the world. And if you can keep that 2 seconds, or 2 thought moments, 3 thought moments, 4 thought moments, that's called adhisila sikha. You are restraining yourself and increasing it. So you can be amidst of all the kind of people, but even then you are unto yourself, we call here, now I am. So this is a secret formula, and when and where you go there, not a single force in the world can withdraw you or distract you from here now I am. That here now I am thought is a very powerful thought moment. Not a single thing can distract you. But you have to confirm it. You have to make sure it by purposefully doing it or facilitating it. One day then you will understand when and where you become here now I am, that's the only thought moment you love yourself. All the other times you are finding excuses, my baby, my mother, my money, my prestige, my yesterday, my tomorrow, this place, that means you are hating the present moment. And the blessing thing is, when and where you become here now I am, you are very close to Buddha, you are very close to Dhamma, very close to Sangha, very close to your moral precepts. And being so, if you can, the third part, maybe I am not translating the same what I have mentioned in the English, singular, sorry. But anyway, the thing happened when I start to talk. In the concentration, after the concentration, when you start wisdom training, even you have a moral restrainment, or higher moral restrainment, or even you are successful in higher concentration restrainment, how to be with the citizen John, how to be with the normal people. That is what you call wisdom. You must never hint others. Others have no moral restraint, no concentration. I can't be with others like, that is your foolishness. The wisdom training trains, even whatever may be your status, you can be with any person. Even they are unrestrained, even they are completely desperate and perplexed mind, no problem. How to be with them still? You maintain your status, you never influence others. If they wish and come and ask, definitely you will say it is not by overnight game. You have to be morally restrained, you have to train your concentration, and after a while you will understand, but don't get pride, no conceit, not be one-upmanship. Egotistic trip. Don't try to get the lion's share. So without have that dirty idea of one-upmanship, try to get lion's share and to be ego trip, just share with the other person, has no moral restrainment, no concentration, but still just like fellow human being. Then that is only you become human. All the other these two, moral and the concentration training always uplift you. One-upmanship can happen. You can misinterpret it. But in the wisdom training only, you just learn the art of how to be with the other human being, whatever may be the beginning status of that particular person, irrespective of the creed or sex or status, religion. When that happens, you find the least frictional path, not to create any friction, not to create any aberration, and that is the biggest aesthetic thing, the best song in the world. So when you go there, you are like a bird. You can fly through, no friction. Or like a sound, go through a flute. Ultimately it becomes a music. So whole your life will be a complete music, a complete song, complete drama, because you ever try to be yourself morally restrained, ever try to use concentration restrainment, and wisdom-wise never discriminate with others, all the time with other people, then you can talk with animals. You can be with trees. You can understand the climate. You can understand our history. You can understand our future. Because that is the language. So therefore, if you wish to relinquish from the household life or go to a recluse life, to have the maximum benefit or reap your harvest, tight your belts regarding concentration training. Moral training. Ever. No limit. And the concentration, you maybe have some certain amount of concentration with the starting balance, but ever increase it. But the third part is don't show it. Don't let others know. You must learn the art. When you go to Rome, try to be a Roman. Don't try to bring your values over there. If it is so, don't go to Roman. Be with that. And the Buddha, in that sense, he can fit with any person from the caste or class or whatever. Maybe that's what we call omniscient. We cannot. We may be somewhat developing our skillfulness in order to make not friction, not make fuss, not be frustrated, and how to be with the other person. That is called understanding the other psychology. That is what you call the third aspect of wisdom training. So this is a kind of a brief translation. I would say it is not translation of the talks, but my interpretation to the Sutta. So thank you very much for listening. Now onward, we are going to take time for the written questions.